is the fact that we tend to overly look at central government, whereas subnationals are closer to the people, feel the pain and the needs a lot more, and that some attention to subnationals can truly do more for savings and growth. Now, there are a couple of African countries that have quite interesting experiences with how this has evolved, the trajectory. I can give examples from several parts. Maybe I'll take Nigeria and Botswana as perhaps contrasting examples. Many people forget that Botswana between 1968 and 1980 was probably the fastest growing economy in the world, driven essentially by diamond exports. But Botswana had the good thinking to recognize that that natural resource belongs to all generations of Botswanans, those alive today and those who will be born in 200-300 years. And so their strategy was to essentially create a future fund and save a significant part of this. And the Pula Fund, as most of us have come to know it, has been really the mother sovereign wealth fund on the continent of Africa. In Nigeria, we've traveled a slightly different track. Well, first of all, what I like to call a dangerous alchemy of a convergence of soldiers and oil led to, if you will, a centralization of decision making in a way that's different from the start of the country as a federation. When Nigeria started out as a federation, most of the development was driven from the subnational level. And in fact, there was competition between the subnationals on who would most bring progress to the people. Someone who this center knows very well was a big part of this center, Howard Wolpe. Howard Wolpe wrote a book with a colleague back in the 1970s on modernization in Nigeria. And they essentially, Robert Melson and Wolpe tried to make the point that there was an ethnocentric view of, say, the Nigerian Civil War as warlords, tribal. But essentially what was going on in Nigeria was nationality groups were competing one with the other about who would most bring progress to their people. And they call this phenomenon competitive communalism. And this phenomenon was responsible for the dramatic growth between 1956-57, when self-government came to Nigeria, and the mid-60s. Now, when soldiers came in 66, a natural tendency from the nature of military led to a kind of centralizing of authority. And oil becoming now a major factor led to the soldiers really feeling that they didn't have to account to anybody. And this led to a prebendal culture, as Richard Joseph writes about. This prebendal culture, where the center basically hands out prebends to the subnationals, led to the subnationals forgetting their traditional role as the primary drivers of development. And this has hurt Nigeria quite a bit in terms of growth. Mm-hmm. So the experiences of Nigeria and Botswana contrast significantly, and we can talk some more about all of this.
So why don't I pick it up from